In France are a number of large numbers of Italian emigres who would run away from fascism. In large number of Poles who were coal miners and so on. Pilsudski reigns in Poland, you know. I don't need to tell you that.
But let's get back to
okay, so I heard about it in January. I got the name of the committee. I went over there and asked them to put my name down. I said, would you take me now? No. Why not? Because at this point, we are taking only those who have some experience with arms. Either you're a hunter, or you've been in the United States Army in one way or another, or had handled guns, National Guard, whatever. And I had no such experience. They asked me what I did. I told them a truck driver. Well, they said maybe later on we'll need truck drivers and we'll ask you. And that's what did happen later on. Now this happens in March. And I go across in March of 1937 as a truck driver. And I drive trucks from the French border to that was the name of the headquarters of the International Brigades. It'll come. And after a couple of trips, I meet a man whom I know. He's a communist, Bill Lawrence. He was the organizer in Queens, and I was a member of the YCL in Queens, so that I became acquainted with him. And I went up to him and I said, look, you know, I came across as a truck driver, but I really want to fight.
How did your family feel about this?
Oh, man, that's an interesting subject. My father had been a reader of the Forwards, which was the socialist paper, for some time. When I joined the movement in 1934, I began to convince him to at least read the Freiheit, which was the communist version. And he more and more became convinced that they were correct and that it was a good idea. He never joined anything. Before I went, I discussed it with him. I said, look, Pop, I'm going to go volunteer. He says, he tried to convince me not to go. He used a logical argument. He says, it makes more sense for those who are in Europe. They're closer to Spain and it affects them more and they should be the ones to go. But I said, Americans are going. Well, he says, I don't think you should go. So I went anyway, and when I came back, I told them I had gone. But I told them that they wouldn't accept me unless, because I didn't have any military thing. So the thing died down, nothing happened. I knew he would object violently. I know my mother would have hysterics. So when the day came to go, I got up. I used to leave the house at 6 o'clock in the morning to go to work and working on that laundry truck. I packed my bag and stuck it under my bed. I had my own room. And I went out quietly down the stairs. And halfway down, and I remembered I forgot my toothbrush. I went upstairs, got my toothbrush, broke it in half, and put it in my pocket. It's the only thing I came back with. And I went to where I was supposed to go, and I called from a telephone booth. And my father answered the phone, and I told him, Pop, they've taken me as a volunteer in Spain. I'm leaving now. I'm going down south to a port. I knew if there was any ports around New York, he'd probably try to find where it was and stop me. And there's nothing you can do about it, Pop. So my mother told me later. He says, talk to your mother. And he gave her the telephone. And this was the laundry. And he put his head down on the shelf and he cried. My mother said that was the only time in his life that she ever saw him cry.